What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV here, back here for the last player ratings episode of the season. Obviously, we played Leicester at the King Power, winning 4-2, the last game of the season, which means we claim Conference League football for next season in the inaugural year of the Conference League, and we claim our spot above Arsenal for the 5th year in a row. And we also claim Champions League football for Chelsea, unfortunately. So that was one of the downsides. But look, it's been a long, hard slog this season. Let's get into the player ratings. The ratings for the season will be with you in a couple of days as well. But let's start off with Hugo Lloris. We gave him a 6, but I mean, he was hardly called into action. You can see there he did make quite a few saves, but I thought they were pretty much easy pickings for him, weren't they?
I mean, yeah, the best save he made was probably from a long-range effort for, I think it was Albrighton from 30 yards, and that was a good save. But other than that, the other saves were pretty easy, and he wasn't called into action that much, to be honest. He had 2 penalties, both obviously he didn't get near them, but other than that, it wasn't the busiest day for Hugo. I think Leicester, despite having a lot of dominance in parts in the game, didn't test him that much.
Yeah. And it's a strange one with Hugo because we've been saying similar things all season with him. And we're always talking about how bad our defence is. And he's hardly been tested.
I know, it's a strange one. He hasn't like a lot of the games, but it's always been in crucial moments where when we really need to hold tight and then we concede a late goal or whatnot, and it costs us so many points, and that's been the biggest disappointment.
Let's move on to Matt Doherty. We gave him a 6 as well. Got handed a start after Serge Aurier and both Japhet Tanganga out, missing from the squad. I mean, I thought it was a good, I wouldn't say good display, but I thought it was an okay display from Matt, and I think much better than from what we have been used to seeing all season. I thought he dealt with his defensive responsibilities quite well.
Yeah.
And I felt that he didn't venture forward that much, but I thought when he did, he provided a good option out there on the right.
Yeah, I thought defensively he did well. I did think that. I think he kept... they didn't really have any wingers on the pitch, to be honest, until late in the game, but I thought whatever he had to deal with, he dealt with it really well with Doherty. It was one of his better displays in the Spurs shirt. Going forward, I think in general play, he was okay. He wasn't amazing. He was decent. He did a solid job. And then going forward in the attacking third, he wasn't really wasn't really involved that much, but he was obviously involved a bit in the first goal, and we had a shot which deflected and it ended up falling to Harry Kane eventually. But I think it was one of his better displays, in all honesty, for Tottenham. I know it was only 6 out of 10, but that shows how bad he's been this season. But it was a solid game from Matt.
Moving on to Davinson Sanchez, we gave him a 6. It was very hot and cold from Davinson on the day. I felt that. Let's start off with the bad, because the bad, I think he had his actually hand in both the goals, to be honest. I think that he was the one that let Vardy away, that put Toby Alderweireld into trouble, and then he was also the one that gave away the second penalty, the clumsy challenge. Whether you think it's a penalty or not, it's still clumsy from Davinson. But I thought in terms of what happened good in the game, I thought he put in a lot of good challenges, a lot of good blocks, and obviously had his hand in our second goal as well, putting off Kasper Schmeichel, which eventually led to the own goal. So it was very hot and cold from Davinson.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it was anything new from what we've seen this season from Davinson, to be honest. I think some decent moments throughout the game, but I thought both goals, he got caught out for both of them, to be honest. And he was there. He obviously let Vardy. I think he was on the pitch to kind of contain Vardy, and it didn't really work, seeing as Vardy won 2 penalties and scored both of them. So I think in that sense, it didn't work that well. But I think. Yeah, as you said, there was some good moments from him. He wasn't all bad, and I think he allowed us, especially in the last embers of the game, in the last 20 minutes, to play a bit higher at the pitch, and allowed us to have more control of the game, because once Vardy tired, he was able to dominate in those areas, and then once he was able to dominate, we were able to get the ball to the attacking players a lot more, so that was a positive, but he did have a big hand in both the goals we conceded.
Let's move on to Toby Alderweireld. We gave him a 6 as well. I thought he was better than Davinson. We did give him the same rating, but I do think he was just about better. I thought that he gave away the penalty, which was also a strange challenge. I'm not sure why he goes in like that. such a late challenge, wasn't it? Vardy's already past him and he sticks out his leg and then he goes down the floor. The ref didn't give it at first sight, but I don't know why, because it was obvious, wasn't it?
He got
lucky. It was an obvious one. But apart from that, I thought he had his defensive responsibilities. He dealt well with like kind of Vardy and Maddison and Iniacho. There was one kind of very crucial block in there from Maddison just before he gave away that penalty. But all in all, I thought it was an okay display, but he gets marks down for giving away that penalty.
Yeah, I completely agree with what you said. I thought especially in the last, it's with Sanchez in the last 20 minutes, I thought he was actually really, really good. And you need to be really strong on your one-on-one defending in those situations, because when it's end-to-end like that, it's like a basketball game. It's kind of whoever makes the most tackles and gets it into the other under end of the pitch more is more likely to get the result. And I felt like Toby and Sanchez really stepped up for us in those last 20 minutes and played really strongly, making some crucial interceptions and really helped us to get that win. And obviously Bale and Kane will get the headlines, but they deserve credit for allowing us to get into those positions.
Let's move on to Sergio Reguilon. We gave him a 5. I keep saying that I'm very worried about Reguilon. I think he needs this summer now. He's not in the Spain squad, so he can have a nice long summer now to reflect and to refresh himself. But in terms of the game yesterday, I thought Reguilon as well, again, not good enough for me. I felt that he was getting quite a lot of the ball, and I felt that whenever he was on the ball, he looked really nervy and he wasn't making the right decisions. I thought his passing was a bit off, and not his best display in a Spurs shirt, but much better than what he was last week, to be fair.
Yeah, he still looked a bit nervy, still wasn't great in possession. I thought going forward, actually, he provided some good combos with Sonny and was looking okay. But way too often he's given the ball away in really dangerous areas and putting us in trouble when we don't need it to be. So I agree. I still see a very good left back there in Reguilon. I still think he's got a lot of quality. He needs time to reset, get the new manager in and get into him. And once he's back in a functioning team, I'm sure he'll be fine. But the last few weeks have been very worrying from Reggie, and he needs the season to end.
Which has done. Pierre-Emile Hojbjerg, we gave him a 6, and I thought that he battled really well with Indeed in the middle of the park there. I thought whenever he got the ball, he was picking out nice passes. So he was putting in that midfield general display, but obviously not to the heights that we have seen him play this season. And I think that he kind of has run out of legs towards the end of the season.
I thought, to be honest, for large parts of the game, I thought he was dominated by Tielemans, and indeed, especially Tielemans, who I thought was having a really strong game.
Tielemans quality.
Yeah, quality player, and he was having a really strong game throughout. And I thought whenever Hojbjerg was, especially for the first hour or so, when Hojbjerg was being pressed and when he was when there was pressure put on him, he was playing balls out of play and he was rushing his passes and he was making loose touch. He was doing some bad stuff. But I thought, again, like the rest of the Tottenham squad, like for the last part of the game, he was also another one who really stepped up and really played, was really strong. So I thought he did really well at the end of the game and deserved to be on the winning side.
Let's move on to Harry Winks. We gave him a 5. He got a second start in a row with Ndombele and Lo Celso not even in the squad, which was most of the Spurs fans' real surprise. But in terms of his performance, again, I thought it was a bit of a similar performance to last week, to be fair, just maybe a tiny bit better. He was full of running, full of effort, but lacking in quality as always. Yeah,
I thought he was a bit better than last week. Passing is still, especially his long-range passing, still not up to scratch, but I thought he competed a bit better, it was a bit more involved in the centre of the park, make a few more tackles. Obviously, he made that crucial yellow card tackle near the game, which he gave the ball away and then he ended up having to recover and make that tackle, but he needed to make the tackle.
His performance, really, didn't he?
Yeah, and then he needed to make that tackle because Leicester won a good break and obviously end up winning in some ways, end up helping us win because they could have easily scored and we ended up scoring a bit later on. So that was important from Winksy. But again, another performance which he didn't really impress me.
Let's move on to Heung-min Son. We gave him a 6. Look, I think it was better from Heung-min Son than it has been the last couple of weeks, but still, it's not the Sonny that we know and love to see, attacking the space all the time, attacking. I think that he did play well, and he did provide some really good moments to the team. Obviously, he put in that corner that led to Kasper Schmeichel's own goal, and I thought he played well, but he just wasn't that menace and thorn in the opposition side that he usually is.
Yeah, I thought he was okay. I thought he was better than he was against Villa, definitely on midweek, that's for sure. And I think he was involved in the first goal as well. He played that volleyed cross to that ended up finding Kane with the volley, and that made it 1-1. Then obviously he put the corner in to make it 2-1. Or 2-2. Sorry. He also had a chance to make it 3-2, which Kasper Schmeichel saved at his near post as well. That was a big chance for Sonny. But other than that, I thought he actually played quite well with Reguilon on the left-hand side, and a few times they did some nice link-ups to put us into some attacking situations. And throughout the game, I thought he was a threat, but he just wasn't. He didn't seem like to be on top of his game throughout the game. And despite being involved in a couple of the goals, he didn't play that great.
Let's move on to Dele Alli. We gave him a 5 as well. And I mean, look,
he was poor.
He was getting in and amongst it, and I think that you could see he was really putting his effort in for the team. But then his like through balls and tricks and flicks weren't really coming off. And like when those don't come off for him, then he's having a poor game, because those are the moments he really kind of thrives on, doesn't he? So
yeah.
I mean, Dele, I was disappointed with Dele, seeing as he has. It's frustrating with Dele, because every time he has a good performance, it's backed up by a poor performance, and that's really frustrating with Dele, and it's something that he needs to look at. He put a message out after the game that, you know, it's been the hardest season of his career and he's going to come back fit and firing next season. So I hope he pulls through on that, because we need a fit Dele, we need a firing Dele, and he proved this season that when he's on song, he's still top quality, but he just wasn't that yesterday.
Yeah, I thought, again, it was more of the same of what we saw on Wednesday night, which was a bit frustrating from Dele. He wasn't. He seemed a bit off it again whenever he had the ball at his feet, and it's so frustrating because we know how good he can be when he's at his sharpest, but when he's not, he's the most frustrating player probably in the squad. And I think, again, it was more of that than it was him being sharp. But there is obviously a player in there. I don't think he'll be leaving this summer. I think he will be part of the team next season. So hopefully, whoever the new manager is can reintegrate him into the team, get him back to his sharpest, and we can see the real Dele Alli. Because at the moment, he's just I feel like he's just a shadow of the player that we know he can be. But hopefully next season can be his best. And there were glimpses. There's always are glimpses with Dele, but it's all about him being at his peak of fitness, peak sharpness, and then we'll see the real Dele Alli.
Steven Bergwijn, we also gave him a 5, and after his really good display last time out, I thought that was it last time out? Yeah, it was.
Yeah, against Villa.
He got the second start, so I think it wasn't as good, nowhere near as good as his last display. I thought that, you know, he was getting up and down the pitch quite well, but he just anonymous, really. He didn't see any sort of quality whatsoever from Steven Bergwijn yesterday.
Yeah,
nothing on the ball.
Him on the right-hand side, I think there was some nice link-up play between him and Doherty at times, and in the middle of the game. But yeah, for however long he was on the pitch, he didn't really create anything, and Spurs struggled to create. A number of times we tried to find him in behind, and were just unable to either find the pass or the run wasn't the best timing. So I feel like there was some good dribbles and he competed well for large parts, but he wasn't as dangerous in the final third as he was on Wednesday night, which is a disappointment for him.
Which moves on to last of starting 11 in Harry Kane, which could potentially be his last Tottenham game, which we gave him an 8 in. And I thought, yeah, look, he was our best player on the pitch yesterday. That's for sure. The best starters anyway. And I think that his first goal was an absolutely delightful finish, that volley going through Kasper Schmeichel's legs. And yeah, that composure to play in Gareth Bale for that goal as well, when you thought he had taken it too far, you thought he had hung on the ball for a bit too long, but to track back and play that ball to Gareth Bale was absolutely brilliant. And apart from that, I thought he was getting in and amongst it, he was dropping deep, he was helping the team, and it looked like he really wanted to make something happen in that game, and that is exactly what he did.
He was definitely motivated to get the golden boot and the best playmaker of the season, and with a goal and assist, he definitely pulled that off. And I thought for sure, he was our biggest threat, he was our best player. I thought he put in a really strong performance on his last game after the disappointment on Wednesday night of him not being really involved and him kind of going out with a whimper in front of the fans. At least he had one more good showing to show for us if it is to be his last game at Spurs. So good ending for him, happy for him to get the golden boot and the best playmaker he fully deserved for this season. I thought he was absolutely sensational, and good way to end off his Spurs career if that is the ending.
Let's move on to the substitutes. Gareth Bale, who came on for Steven Bergwijn with around just over 20 minutes to go. We gave him a 9 because I thought as soon as he came on, the dynamic in the team changed. It really did. And, Leicester knew they had to go for it. We and pick them off when they did go for it. And I think that 2 goals in 20 minutes, absolutely sublime. The first one with a really, really nice finish from that Harry Kane layoff that I was speaking about. The second goal was one really rolling back the ears, cutting through the middle of the pitch, beating 2 or 3 men. And then obviously with that outside of the boot finish that hit the post, and then he picks up the rebound. It really did make me a bit nostalgic watching that, and he was brilliant, Gareth Bale. He really was.
Yeah, he showed what he can do with time and space on the pitch, and I thought he was absolutely brilliant on that substitute appearance. He really did add so much more quality. He was taking on his men. He looked confident. He was those 2 finishes as well, especially the second goal, the way he just dribbled into the Leicester box. Like there was no defenders there, with Kane dragging away the defenders. He could have easily played Kane in, and Kane could have got another goal, but he knew how to exactly play that situation. He played it to perfection, and obviously the finish did come off the post, but it was nearly a fantastic individual effort if that would have gone straight in. And it was a confident finish for the second as well for the first. I mean, which had to go through a few Leicester players, or harder than it looks in my opinion, that finish. So he had to keep his composure. It was easily done, and I thought throughout he also played a fantastic through ball for Kane, really great through ball, which Kane should have done better with. So I thought it was a fantastic cameo from Bale, and it more evidence that he's got so much more to give, and that we should definitely be thinking about taking him on for next season.
And Lucas Moura, we gave him a 7, who also came on the 67th minute. This one for Dele Alli. And again,
7's a bit generous, I think.
Yeah, look, we gave him a 7, but I think that the reason I gave him a 7 is because the dynamic of the game, like I mentioned with Gareth Bale, really did change when he came on. He provided so much energy when he came on the pitch. He was running at the defence. He was pressuring them into making mistakes. And I think that he was also a big part to why we really looked good in the last 20 minutes.
Yeah, he showed a lot of energy, which was good. I thought his dribbling could have been a lot better. A few times actually he got tackled, which is unlike Lucas. He very rarely gets tackled in those kind of positions. So I thought that was a bit frustrating actually from Lucas. But I thought in terms of pressing and energy and trying to win the ball back and causing mistakes from Leicester, I thought he was definitely good at that. So I'll give him credit for that.
And Roden, he came on for Heung-min Son in the 90th minute, but he's not going to get a rating because I don't even think he touched the ball. He came on for the last 2 minutes stoppage time. And Ryan Mason for his last game as interim manager. What would you give him as a rating?
From how he... I would have to give him... It's difficult because as a rookie manager...
5, 6.
For him, I think he probably gets like a 7. Because I think the way he's come in, and he's how many games he managed? 6 games, and he's won 4 of them, 4 out of 6 games. So that's all right for a rookie manager who's 29 years of age. I know that you can take in the opposition, and you can take in all that kind of stuff into account. But for your first job as a very, very young coach, I think he's done okay. And I think he came in very difficult circumstances, and he did win a few games. He obviously lost when it really mattered against Leeds, Villa, and Chelsea in City in the Cup. When the really push came to shove, he didn't obviously get over the line. But to have a record, I think overall, including the Cup final, 4 wins in 7 with the 3 defeats, I think it's an okay record, and I think he can be proud for what he's done in that short space of time. And I think he played some good football. Obviously, no, it wasn't perfect, and he definitely hasn't shown that he's going to be any sort of long-term appointment for us. But I think in the circumstances, I think he's done okay.
But in this game, as an isolated situation, I think the lineup, everyone was unhappy with the lineup, weren't they?
Yeah.
Seeing Harry Winks there, not seeing Gareth Bale in the starting lineup. Not sure if Dele kind of deserved to start after his poor showing. Winks, no one knows why he was in the lineup, and obviously he brought back Davinson Sanchez as well. Everyone wasn't happy with the lineup, and you've got to say that was reflected in the kind of balance, not the balance of the game, but the way we were playing, because I don't think we really turned up until the last 20 minutes, really, until Gareth Bale and Lucas came on. Yeah,
apart from like the first 5-10 minutes, we were okay, but other than that, we definitely got dominated by Leicester, and it's true, we didn't improve until we didn't really start to dominate until we put those subs on.
First time since he's been the coach that he's made the right subs as well.
Yeah, true. But to be fair, how many times have we been in a game, given away a stupid penalty, and gone on to lose the game and not got back in it? And the fact that we did end up getting back in it.
We did it twice.
We did it. We've done it twice under Mason. We did it. We got back in the game yesterday really well. Ended up with all 3 points, and he deserves some credit for changing the game. But yeah, it is what his managerial tenure was a decent one for him from a personal point of view, and I think yesterday he did a decent job. I think people will criticise him, but we don't know all the ins and outs of why Ndombele and Lascelles are all left down, whatever. So I think out of the squad he picked, I think the lineup was okay, and I think he's got the subs right at the right times.
All right, well, that is your last player ratings episode of the season as Tottenham beat Leicester 4-2 at the King Power Stadium. Let me know your ratings in the comment section below. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, come on you Spurs.